Hello everybody, welcome back to another tutorial. Today I'm going to be teaching you my method of building dragon heads. I wanted to really zoom in on this technique specifically instead of looking at the dragon as a whole so that you guys could get this little tidbit of information, maybe a shorter form. Let me know if you want to see some more tutorials like this one. So, to get started, we're going to be creating a sphere with the sphere command in World Edit. If you don't have World Edit, simply start off by creating a sphere. The size of your sphere is going to determine the size of your dragon head. Now, we're going to start on the jaws. For the upper jaw, we want to have this attached to the eye socket. So we're going to mark in where our eye socket is right away. And we're thinking about our bone structure. So I've marked in a little eyebrow there, and then I'm going to mark out the length of my upper jaw. The upper jaw is really strong and it's attached into the main part of the cranium. If you look at a picture of a skull, even a human skull, you can tell that the top jaw is a lot more attached to the bottom one, which is hinging and is used for the dragon to chomp down on its prey, if it is that type of dragon, of course. For this particular dragon that we're going for here, it's going to be a meaner dragon. So I'm adding a lot of an arch to that jaw there, like it is baring its teeth, and we're going to put some very large teeth in there. Now we're ready for our lower jaw. For our lower jaw, I usually switch my block, just so I can get some good definition there and really see what I'm doing. I love using these blocks that have an edge on them because they really help me to really get my shape in place and help me to see what I'm doing, and they make it really easy if you're working with commands. So, once I've hinged my lower jaw down and have that where I'm happy with, I just have to flip it over to the other side. If you don't have the flip command, then simply build the other side now. At this stage, normally I am ready to fill it in and attach a body to this dragon head, and of course rotate it in place. We are building a dragon head very straight on and kind of flat for simplicity in this tutorial. Normally I would rotate it in place, have it on an angle, and have it in a more interesting position than this. You can choose what to do with your dragon head now, but we are going to skip ahead and start adding some details, such as some spikes. So for the spikes, I am using a separate color again, and we'll be adding 3 spikes to this one. This dragon in particular, as I said, is very mean, so adding more spikes really adds to that, and we're also going to portray that with the teeth and the color. After doing that to the other side, we're ready to carve out the inside of the mouth and start working on those big teeth. As I said before, I want these to be a main feature of this dragon. So they're hanging out over the lip, they're really showing, and they're really big compared to the dragon's head. And that's going to add to that overall effect. Now it's time to choose our colors. For the eyes and nostrils, I'm going to be using the black concrete because I think that adds a lot of depth to those eyes. I'm also going to be putting some fire in there eventually. Now we work out our colors. Since the theme of this dragon is going for a more fierce and mean dragon, I'm going to be going for that typical red dragon color. So around the eyes, we're doing sort of a gradient of red. And in my inventory, I've picked out a gradient and put it from light to dark. This helps me while I'm building to not have to think about my gradient so much. I'm putting the lighter colors around places like the eye, the nostrils, and the top of the head, and then working down into the darker colors. And of course the eyebrows, I want them to be defined, so I'm doing those with a darker color as well. I love the use of the glazed terracotta here, and this is a great place to use it because it has so much texture. I'm using darker colors around the lips, such as the netherwort. This adds a great texture, and then the lighter colors on the top make it look like light is hitting the top of my dragon. Adds some nice shading. I'm going to use a replace command to replace out the rest, but if you don't have access to World Edit, then simply replace out the rest with a solid color. I've saved one red block, which is the terracotta, for my tongue, which I'm going to be doing a simple little forked tongue inside that mouth there. Then I'm going to be replacing the horns out with some coal. I think this dragon turned out fantastic, and it is done. All of the details of this mean dragon head. Now that we have this basic technique in place, I want to show you how to do this on another dragon. So we're going to be using the exact same size sphere. This is also a size 6 sphere, but this time we're going to be doing a much flatter top jaw. So we're coming out in a flatter position and doing a much rounder nose out there. This dragon is going to be a Chinese dragon. So we're marking out the nose and the eye socket same as before. The eye socket on this one is a little rounder and placed a little bit more forward, with a brow that is a little flatter and less mean. You can see the arch in that upper jaw is a lot less curved, and although the mouth is open, it is nowhere near as open as the other one. For the horns, again, we're going to be going just a little curvier, and we're only doing one of those spikes here. Now that I have my basic shape, I'm again going to flip that over and just keep tweaking as I'm going, making sure I've got everything in place. This dragon's going to be a lot more detailed, and once I have some base stuff in, we are again at the point where here, I would attach this dragon to a body, rotate it in place, make sure it's in the right place, smooth it out again, get everything in place, and then detail. You don't want to detail too early on if you're building the entire dragon. For us, we are soon going to be ready to finish detailing this guy as if he's attached to a body or in a build properly. So we're going to start by shaping out the side of his head a little bit better. Looking at a reference picture all the way here, and I'll post some reference pictures on the screen now. I didn't use one particular one. I more so searched in Google what I was looking for and then combined a bunch of them to get the effect that I wanted and kind of copied over some of those details. I think this really helps me when I'm building dragons, and I definitely recommend if you're new to building dragons or organics in general, try to pick out a reference picture. It can be extremely helpful, especially if you get stuck on what details to add. For the teeth of this dragon, you can see we went with a lot more teeth, but they're a lot flatter and less scary looking. Now we're going to add in some colors. So for this dragon, we're going with kind of the opposite effect of the other one. We're going with some darker colors around the eyes and nostrils, and then lighter colors on the outside. I replaced it all with prismarine and then went with some fancy colors for the details, like for example this whisker. These types of dragons tend to be very, very detailed and have a lot of red and gold based off what I've seen, so I tried to add those colors in as much as possible. These dragons are also bearded, so I went across with some birchwood and added as much of a beard as I possibly could and tried to get lots of little hairs flowing out. I think this gives such a cool effect to the dragon, and I really like the way that it turned out. It adds some very nice detail. Now we're going to replace out those horns on the top, and this dragon is done. I really love the way that this dragon turned out. I think it is very detailed and very cool. It would definitely look nice in any oriental build. Anyways guys, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. It was really challenging to create something like this, but I really like zooming in on this one specific technique. I'm going to leave a link in the description of some builders who also build dragons and who helped to teach me these techniques. Remember, this is only one way to create dragons. There are many, many ways, and if you already have one in mind that you like using, by all means, stick to that. Anyways guys, I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye!